Bonjour dinawi magidak, ogimam kodishna kaz gagonushtiak dunji benasi dunim. Megweshkiji manitunungum. Thank you for another beautiful day to our creator. My name is Jerry Daniels. I'm the Grand Chief for the Southern Chiefs Organization, representing 34 First Nations of Anishinaabe and Dakota background. We would like to acknowledge Treaty 1, the land in which we are currently standing on, and we wish everyone well in the creation of a better future for all of us, one where human rights is the cornerstone on which we build our societies and our institutions.
Okay, miigwech, tanzi, tanin, bonjour, washte. My name is Ernie Daniels. I'm the elder for Long Plain First Nation as well as Treaty 1 people. And welcome to the ancestral lands of the Ojibwe people in southern Manitoba here. And that includes the city of Winnipeg and all the surrounding area. Panogum biminig Anishinaabe. Asema biminig. Angu bina asema. Oye, miigon ngu bina. Miigwech nikid nom. Magseme gwan ni Anishinaabe jani miang eight nikid. Ani beskriver kaz makwanda udem. Ka noske manuntse. Mi gunwana no mo ga deveni madzin novum. Pagosene ma inako ma nagizo ma. Kwe aje visit no mo madzi. Ugda kinang. Magosene ma kwe chini said. We muniag. We di on this yard. Wabinong. Jaunong. Ani sakye de oh Jesus. Great nong. Always still got ji godma anao kinge no dinakomag. Benese aji kedwish coming. Ginyu. Gain bagsenwa. Mi jot on madzjagwa madzig oidakina. Quick ni said, quick ni said, dizong zit ma kwa madzi. Jen yogsha, our people, kind, loving, gentle people, our treaties allowed the newcomers, the settlers, to come to our territory to live amongst us in peace. Our treaty is not based on war, it's not about conquer. It's the right of passage for the new settlers to come to our territory. That's our treaties. So with that, miigwech, I thank you very much, and I wish you well to all people of the world that things go well. Be kind to one another, be safe, be calm, stay healthy. Miigwech, thank you.
Oh Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front l'essai de fleurons glorieux, car ton bras s'est porté l'épée et s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Tansi, bonjour, hello. As Canadians, we are proud of our diversity and our history of multiculturalism. Our society is truly a mosaic and this has shaped our communities as well as our way of life. Our government is continuing the important work to strengthen Canada's diversity. From the Supporting Black Canadian Communities Initiative launched earlier this year to pushing for equality for the LGBTQ2 communities. From fighting for equality and human rights internationally to reconciliation with Indigenous peoples, we know that diversity is our strength. Et je dis encore en français, au Canada, c'est notre diversité qui fait notre force. Recently, Canadians' lived experiences with racism and discrimination has come to light, and it is up to us to call this behavior and do better. Canada is not immune to the realities of systemic racism, inequality, and racial injustice. A diverse society is always a work in progress. It demands our effort, our attention, and our commitment. If we truly desire an inclusive Canada, each of us must speak up in solidarity with our fellow citizens who continue to live with racism and discrimination. This year's Torch of Dignity relay looks a little different due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I nonetheless encourage fellow Manitobans to step up for human rights and human dignity. Thank you. Merci.
On behalf of the Manitoba government, I was very proud to support the Manitobans for Human Rights annual campaign to raise awareness about human rights in our province. I encourage everyone to get involved, learn about human rights issues, and how to promote them. Because if we're all in this together, we must be equal. Les droits humains sont fondamentaux pour notre société.
We can see Manitobans everywhere are stepping up for human rights and human dignity. With tens of thousands of volunteer hours contributed by Manitobans for Human Rights, it's clear that this is not only something that Winnipeggers are aware of, but care enough about to volunteer their time towards. This is because we recognize that our province and our city's diversity, it's our strength. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart and so many in our community. We know our community's diversity should be celebrated. In the face of COVID-19, the relay is a little different this year, but the goal remains the same: increase awareness and support for diversity, inclusion, and human rights. And this is something we can all get behind. I want to thank all those participating in the 5th annual virtual Torch of Dignity relay. Thank you to all who are carrying the torch of dignity today, and to the board members and volunteers who are helping promote this message. Thanks so much. Merci and miigwech.
Yeah. So my English name is Geraldine Shingoose, and I do have my Indigenous names, spirit names, Sky Woman and Northern Lights Woman. I come from the Bear Clan, and my warrior spirit is Grandmother Turtle. So I'm so excited to that you're here today, because I need to I have a story to tell, and my story is when I was 5 years old, I was taken to a faraway place. We were living off the land, me and my parents and my grandparents and my siblings, and they took us out to this big school. Like, I was 5 years old, and I spent from 1962 to 1971 at Muskowhegan Residential School for 9 years. I didn't go home for the summer. I was there for 10 months. Me and my siblings, George and Darlene, attended that school. And when I first attended the school, I didn't speak any English. I only knew my language. And we were, I guess, punished for speaking our language. Like, whenever I spoke Soto, I would get a strap or a beating with a ruler stick or with a strap. sometimes on the hand. I want to share one story that, and maybe a couple things. About one story was in grade 3. I was with, along with my classmates, but we had a teacher, and we found out right away that first day he was mean. And what he would do was, we would be sitting in our rows, and he would walk up and down the aisles, and he would, once in a while, he would randomly, he would hit, like, on the head here, or sometimes he would punch. And if you cried or screamed, he would hit you again. And that continued, for my grade 3 classroom, that school year. I went home for the summer, and I came back in September. I forgot about what happened and didn't tell my parents or my kokum. Went back in September. We found out that we failed grade 3. All of us, the same students. So we had to be in that same classroom with him. And again, he would walk up and down. So he would hit you again. And if you cried, he would hit you again. So, but I learned to quiet myself, not to cry or scream whenever I felt that hit, because if I did, I would be hit again. So when the TRC came out in 2010, I went and told my story, and this is my story here that I told. It's recorded, and in that story I told him about that teacher and what happened, that he damaged my hearing. Like, I have hearing loss in both sets of ears. So that's my story. The other thing is, like, this is the brick from the school. We went and retrieved a brick. So I put the sacred color of red and medicine in there to protect my space, because this brick comes from that school. It was built in 1930. So part of my journey is when the TRC came to a close in 2015 in June, a vision came to me that I had to go out and share my story. So I've been sharing my stories with universities and with the schools, junior high, high school, and the little ones, the kindergartens. And so, and one of the classes that I presented to St. James, the junior high grade 8s, they made a book, and in there they compiled letters. And this is a letters about residential school, and that they needed to know, like, our stories, and they needed to know my story, because one of my goals when I go to the schools is to tell them 2 things. I asked them to share my story and to do research, and not to forget that history of residential school. Residential school is really is part of our history, and it broke our human rights as residential school survivors. But we survived, and we're still here, and we're out here sharing our story. There's not too many of us left. Like, there's 150,000 probably now. There's probably 80,000 survivors left. So the federal government gave the survivors a a chance or an opportunity to save their stories, their records. And I took that opportunity and I wanted to save my records. It was my choice. So this is what they sent to me. And the stick one here is my story. All of it's in there that I shared with the government of Canada. So this is different than the TRC. The government of Canada listened to the survivors and heard their stories. So I wanted to also share with the survivors that this is an opportunity to share your story and keep your records, because the government of Canada can't destroy them. They're going to destroy them in 2022. So we need to hang on to our history, because that's a forgotten history that was never shared when you went to school. I wanted to share that my vision for human rights is in memory of all the little children that didn't make it home from residential school from 1860 to 1996. There's thousands of children that didn't make it home. The TRC reported that there are probably 4,000 to 6,000 little ones that didn't make it home. So this is my tribute to them, and not to forget them, that they're not forgotten, and to honor them and show them that love that every human being deserves across Canada, that we are all equal, and we are as Indigenous people, we are a giving, loving people. We have sacred laws that we carry, and we practice them on a daily basis. And in those laws, one of them is love. And I practice that on a daily basis. I bring love, and I bring respect, and I bring compassion and kindness, as my ancestors did for the settlers that arrived here in Canada. So with that, I want to say thank you for listening. I have so much to share, but today is only brief of what I wanted to share. And I want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to share what human rights means to me as a residential school survivor. Because as a survivor during those 9 years, my human rights was violated to the extreme, and that no child should ever have experienced that. It was violated. So, but from now on and moving forward, we need to protect the children, all children of all races. They're very special and dear to us, because they're the ones that are going to build this world and this nation and make it the way our ancestors wanted it to be at the first time. Thank you.
Barrackfan started with a couple of community events in the past. We reformed and came together, and now we're continuing on with a lot of volunteers signing up and getting the community involved. And started out with Barrackfan as a volunteer. I had a full-time job at the time, and came out, was walking 3 times a week, and it was a little personal for me because My mother was, I was adopted, and my mother was found deceased behind the Sutherland Hotel. So it's always a reminder for me to try and help the community as I can, as much as I can, and help out where I can. Started out as a volunteer and then worked my way up as a coordinator, and from there just putting in the time and putting in hours with Bear Clan, and they saw a need for a coordinator and then a lead coordinator, and from there moved into the interim executive director position to make sure that the organization keeps moving forward. We've been involved in a lot of different things in the community. We get involved with obviously picking up hazardous needles, weapons, anything like that we can get off the street. Also involved in interactions with the community, feeding the homeless, looking after our brothers and sisters out there on the street. Right now we have a food program that's running Monday to Wednesday. And we think 400 hammers go out on Wednesdays to the community throughout all the communities throughout the city.
That's crazy.
An example of Bear Clan's impact or existence in the community would be, we're always working with community members, oftentimes getting involved in events like we are today, handing out clothes and things to the youth of the community. Also, we're very interactive with many of the homeless people in the community, making sure that they're looked after. Any of the vulnerable people, we make sure that we're around. That's why we patrol from every Wednesday from 6 to 9, Wednesday to Sunday from 6 to 9. And it's making a difference. Everything's involved with the community, has to be with the community. It will only grow stronger together. With the rising demand of community involvement, Bear Clan really strives to utilize our community members, so it becomes more communities serving our community. It takes a community to come together to be stronger, and I think with having community members involved in our organization, Bear Clan would like to continue to support Manitobans for human rights, and our goal is to continue to uplift the dignity of community members in each and every community.
Welcome everybody to the 5th annual Torch of Dignity being run by Manitobans for Human Rights. This event started 5 years ago as a result of business in Manitoba by Shulith Koenig from the United Nations, who are greatly promoting human rights all over the world. And so it's been an annual event, and this is the 5th time we've done it, and I'd like to welcome you once more to this wonderful event. Thank you very much.
I stand with survivors of human trafficking because human trafficking happens every day here in Canada. They have a right to be free. They have a right to speak. They have a right to live in the same way that you and I live. So this is my cause.
Hi, my name is Robert Falcon-Ouellette, a former Member of Parliament for Winnipeg Centre and with the Pearson Centre in Ottawa. And, we're here fighting for human rights and the desire to make Winnipeg a true human rights city where we all live together as one.
Hi, I'm Wab Canoe, leader of the Manitoba NDP, and I support human rights so that we can honor the dignity of all people.
Anine, I'm Nahani Fontaine, the NDP MLA for St. John's, because I stand for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirit.
My name is Mary Lou Bourgeois, chairperson for the Manitobans for Human Rights Torch of Dignity Relay Committee. This year, because of the COVID-19, we have had to make a change and do it virtually. I would like to thank all of you who are tuning in today to come and join us. I would also like to thank the people who helped to coordinate the event. Our special guests are Dan Vandell, Member of Parliament, Rochelle Squires, MLA, and Mayor Brian Bowman. Also a big thank you to Robert Falcon-Ouellette, who has played O Canada with his trumpet. And we also would like to We also have 2 employees that we were able to hire for the summer who are here to help organize this event. Zerica Him through the Provincial Summer Grants and Ashley Hollers through the Federal Student Summer Job Program. They have both been working very diligently along with MHR's Administrator and Special Events Coordinator, Lisa Hill, and also those involved in the committee. And at last but not least, a great big thank you to all our sponsors and those who have stepped up to participate in our virtual Torch of Dignity relay. And on a side note, and I think is very important, be sure to stay safe during this time of the COVID-19. Either stay at home or make sure you wear a mask and when venturing out in public places. Remember, you can be a carrier and not be sick. Everyone has a right to be safe and healthy. Thank you. Miigwech. Merci.